Hello and welcome back everyone to part 2 of the Bottoms Get Beat Up. This time we have ShibaInu as the first ship for the actual plot, so to say. And yeah, the next part will be uploaded soon. I hope you enjoy this. It's also my first time writing ShibaInu, so please be kind in the comments if I don't nail them directly from the start. I tried my best. After the car was out of sight, Shibayama slowly let his head sink down to his side. His smile fell, and for a moment he felt just lost. He stood in front of the house, staring down at the street, unsure what to do next. It was as if until now he hadn't even realized what happened. Everything just transpired in such a rush. He could barely remember the moment it all escalated. It had been seconds from Kema's comment jumping to his defense to a full-on fight breaking out. His heart was still thrumming wildly in his chest. Something like this had never happened to him before. The cut on his forehead still burned and he felt a little disoriented. His head had collided with the wooden surface of the bar as one of the idiots had shoved him against it. It had almost been on accident. As soon as all hell broke loose, he had been practically forgotten about while Haikyuu drew all the attention to him, unafraid and prepared to kick ass. Which he did. He was glad to be so overlooked in the actual fight, but he couldn't shake off the guilt. As soon as it started, he just froze. Unable to move, he watched as Haikyuu defended him. He hadn't even managed to dodge the hit that was aimed at him. It was pathetic. Tears began to prick in his eyes again, and he sniffled. Suddenly, before he could decide what to do or bring himself to move, a bar cut through the silence from behind. He flinched shortly, but the sound was very familiar, and soon he felt little paws at his hips, as though ShibaInu jumped up at him. "Yori, what are you doing outside?" Automatically, he turned around and knelt down to welcome his dog. The pup was barely 2 years old and still very excitable. Before he could prevent it, he jumped again, causing Shibayama to land on his bed, while the dog licked the salty tears from his cheeks. A wet giggle escaped the libero's throat and swallowed his weak protest as his hands flew up to comb through the short golden fur. His chuckle was soon joined by another, a light, carefree sound he immediately recognized as Inuoka's. "I thought I heard a car. Yori really missed you, you know." As if he understood, the dog barked in confirmation and nudged him again with his snout. "I missed him too." His voice sounded thin, and he quickly buried his face against Yori's fur to hide from his boyfriend a little longer. "Yori, come here. You can continue cuddling inside." The dog jumped up and freed himself from Shibayama's arms. It was incredible, but whenever it was Inuoka, he listened perfectly. With Shibayama, it was a hit or miss. His traitor of a boyfriend said it was because he was too lenient with the dog, but he disagreed. With a bit of effort, Shibayama fought himself up, or at least tried to, until halfway he was met with his boyfriend offering a hand. He smiled, which was even worse because now he could see the exact moment Inuoka noticed that something was wrong. A small frown settled between his brows as he saw the cut on his forehead. He reached out a hand to inspect it, but halted when Shibayama hissed at the touch. His eyes searched his, which were undoubtedly red-rimmed from crying, and he looked down in shame. "Yuki, what happened?" His voice was laced with worry, and he gently pulled him closer by his hand. Shibayama tried to answer. He really did, but his throat suddenly felt like it was rapidly closing, and all that left his mouth was a pathetic sob. New tears fell from his eyes, and in a rushed attempt to hide, he buried his face against Inuoka's chest. Immediately, the taller brought his arms around him and started to soothingly pat over his back. Next to them, Yori appeared again. He whimpered and walked in confused circles around them. He went from nudging them in their sides to letting himself fall onto his front paws to animate them to play. Inuoka observed him from the corner of his eye, and a soft smile tugged his lips upward. Come on, let's go inside. He gently but determined guided Shibayama forward, and Yori followed suit. He barked happily as they moved. As soon as they passed the door, he rushed past them. Shibayama could hear the soft clacking of his claws against the wooden floor, and before he had even managed to take off his shoes, the dog was back again with a toy in its maw. It was a little lamb plushie and made Yori look forbiddingly cute. I'll make us some tea. Do you want chamomile or green tea? Surprised, he looked up. Inuoka's eyes were gentle and he smiled at him warmly, though Shibayama could see how his gaze strayed to the cut time and time again. Chamomile. Okay, give me a minute. Before he could so much as nod in response, Inuoka had disappeared inside. He gulped, still fighting for the little composure he had left. He barely felt his legs as he stepped inside, mechanically following his boyfriend. His boyfriend, who he didn't even manage to tell his friends about. A bitter taste assembled in his mouth at the thought. He had been really excited to tell them, actually. Inuoka and him were official for a year in less than 2 months, though it wasn't widely known. The team knew, but it hadn't been publicly announced. They didn't want their relationship to become a matter of the public, even when the interest in a Division 2 libero probably wasn't that great to begin with. This was the first time seeing his old teammates in person again, and he wanted to tell them, but he got nervous and tongue-tied. Yaku's question was a heaven sent, but then those idiots showed up, and now it remained a secret. He sighed and urged himself to move, surprised when he found the kitchen empty. He didn't have the energy to wonder anymore where So had run off to, and just let himself fall onto one of the chairs. Him not being able to tell them about the relationship was arguably the least bad thing about today's evening, but to Shibayama it was just the cherry on top of his shortcomings for today. As if he hadn't been already enough of a useless and downright bad friend today, now he was also a terrible boyfriend for not speaking proudly of his partner. Heck, he couldn't even take his worry upon arriving. So must have thought the worst when he just started crying into his shirt so suddenly, wounded. More tears slipped from his cheeks, and at this point he didn't even try to prevent it any longer, when suddenly a bag landed on the table in front of him. Took me a while to find it, but here we go. We really should have more of these, with you being an athlete and all. He grinned jokingly, but Shibayama could see the worry in his eyes as he tried to make this easier for him. So... His eyes strayed down to the object, only now recognizing the medic kit. Okay, let me take a look at that first, then I'll make us tea, and you can take all the time you need to explain what happened. His heart swelled at the swift care his boyfriend provided. His voice was gone and all he could do was nod and let him take the lead. He inspected the cut carefully and fished a band-aid from the kit along with some disinfectant. Yaku-san cleaned the cut already. Yaku was with you when this happened? He nodded, and Inuoka let out an audible sigh of relief. He still cleaned the wound once more, apologizing when Shibayama flinched from the stinging before he gently and thoroughly applied the bandage. There you go. Anything else? He shook his head, though he regretted it immediately as a sharp pain followed the movement. It must have shown on his face because Inuoka looked at him, his eyes full of concern. Just some bruises. We liberals are used to those. He repeated Yaku's words darkly and gulped. Any that are worse than the others? He thought about it for a moment and thought the events of the evening over once more. He still didn't quite feel like he had regained his full control and feeling over his body as the adrenaline was still wearing off. I hit my head, but I don't think it's that bad. The taller nodded slowly and moved to inspect the place Shibayama showed him. Do you feel dizzy or nauseous? Only from anxiety. He knew it was true the moment he said it. This feeling, at least, was very familiar for him. Inuoka, however, didn't seem convinced. He sighed and put the first aid kit aside while moving to the kitchen counter. He took 2 caps from the cupboard, and Shibayama's heart fluttered as he recognized the cute ShibaInu cap Inuoka had given him for his birthday. Just tell me if it gets worse, yes? He nodded, observing him as the taller prepared their tea. While the water started boiling in the kettle, he met his gaze and a soft smile adored his lips. So, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. You didn't. Well, I am worried, obviously, but I doubt that it was your fault. He took in a deep breath and finished up the caps before placing one in front of him and sitting down next to him. Their kitchen table was small, fitting only 4 chairs around it, meaning that he neither sat opposite to him nor right by his side. It was perfect to talk while offering the support he needed right now. So, what happened? The seconds ticked by as Shibayama tried bringing the events into a logical order in his mind, while Inuoka waited patiently. I could probably also call and ask Yaku if you don't want to talk about it yet. He could see him tense at the idea, confirming that Inuoka was probably imagining much worse than a simple bar fight. He hated this. He had to speak up before the worry would eat the other alive. Shibayama knew by now that Inuoka had mastered putting on a calm and soothing facade even when things got bad. An essential skill when working with children, and he was very good at his job. But underneath it, he still worried so much. The former middle blocker had such a big heart that always felt for others. He offered him constant reassurance when he needed it, and right now Shibayama needed to reassure him that he would be alright. And there was one more thing. No, I haven't told them about us yet. Inuoka felt it. For the blink of an eye, Shibayama believed to see confusion and a sharp flash of pain reflected in his eyes. I wanted to. Really. I just... When Yaku asked me whether I was seeing anyone, suddenly this guy showed up and started flirting with me. I shut him down immediately, but he wouldn't let it go. Worse, he thought that I was a girl. It was new to Inuoka that Shibayama felt rather insecure about his feminine appearance, and as such, immediately a look of sympathy coined his expression, and he reached out to take Shibayama's hand in his. And my Yakuza defended me, and it escalated.
They attacked you?
Yes. They were brainless idiots, toddlers who didn't get what they wanted. Just a lot bigger and scarier. Disdain swung in his voice, and he pursed his lips tightly. Inuoka offered him a reassuring squeeze before, after reassuring himself that it was okay, he got up to gently pull him into his arms. See, I was right. This wasn't your fault then. He soothingly wrapped over his arms as Shibayama let himself be soothed by his boyfriend. I guess. Not you guess. You said it perfectly. They were idiots. I'm just frustrated because I couldn't do anything. I just froze. Inuoka hummed and rocked them slightly. That's okay. I would have been scared too. Not too scared to help your friends. I don't know. That's what I like to think, but I have never been in a similar situation. Shibayama was sure Inuoka would have done something, but he didn't say that. Besides, even if I'm not you, people react differently, and that's okay. But if you want to change that, you could take courses on self-defense and stuff. And stuff? A small chuckle escaped Shibayama's lips, making his boyfriend smile. What? Nothing. Just, those kids are lucky to have you. You must be awesome at your job. Yuki. He whined playfully and hugged him tighter while plastering kisses on his face and neck until it tickled. He laughed, but after a moment, a new wave of pain passed through his head, and before he could prevent it, Inuoka had already noticed and stopped. Sorry. It's fine. It's not too bad. He raised an eyebrow at him in disbelief before determination settled on his face. Alright, for this grave mistake on my part. So... There was a warning in the way he said his name as he noticed his boyfriend starting to act melodramatic again. I shall spoil thee for the rest of the evening. Before he got the chance to protest, Inuoka had lifted him into his arms and carried him to the couch. You are impossible. Impossibly handsome. Shibayama punched his arm slightly, but didn't deny it. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. If you did, consider leaving a like and tell me your theories for the next parts. We still have, obviously, Yaku and Kenma left. I'm excited. Yes, and there will be more parts of it in general, but this is just the first group. Tell me also your favorite quote from this part under the pinned comment. It would mean the world to me. And yeah, tomorrow we will get the supercard of Fake It Till You Make It, plus an exciting bonus part. I hope you're excited. Special thanks to my nerdy neckos as always. Here on my social media you can check out if you like, or even better, the videos in the uncut. I heard they're pretty cool. And I hope you have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye!
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.